Have the right ones. If you guys remember, we talked about on this stream this guy, Prigozhin, the caterer turned coup lord, turned warlord. This guy was Putin's caterer who ended up heading a private military, who ended up marching on Moscow as part of a coup. And then right before his troops and tanks got to Moscow, and he like possibly could have taken over the country, he made a deal with Putin. He made a deal through a third party in Belarus that he would be given immunity if he stopped. He did that deal, and then today his plane was blown up. So much for fucking immunity, bro. Literally, yeah, he was 100% murdered today. That's not an accident. That lasted like 4 weeks. It was like late June when he got his immunity deal, and now he's dead. I mean, that's crazy speed. Ladsy, thank you for the raid. Arceus Swamp, thank you for the prime. Redhead Halo, thank you for the 5 months. Connor's alcoholic uncle, thank you for the 3 months. Eats pants, FYI. I know he does. I know he does. Blake is lost, thank you for the 19 months. Vladimir Putin wouldn't have killed him. You're probably right, given that I think most people wouldn't have killed another person. But Vladimir Putin certainly did. Putin had him killed immediately, which, you know, is I guess a double-edged sword for Putin. Number one, it like reaffirms that if you try to fuck with him, he'll have you killed. So it kind of makes him seem more powerful in Russia. But it also shows that like any deal you make with him, you can't trust. So it's, you know what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword. I think it's going to be a chaotic time in Russia for sure. Mudsman, thank you for the sub. Did they confirm he was on the plane? Yeah. Listen, and just think about it from their POV. Within 3 minutes of that plane blowing up, 3 minutes, the Russian government had already said he was on board, which means they knew he was on board before they killed him. Do you understand? And if they go, hey, Prigozhin's dead, we got him, or we know he's dead, he was on the plane, he's died, and then he's not dead, that's terrible for Putin. Because it makes him look like a fucking god, an unkillable demon king. If he resurfaces alive somewhere, it's so terrible. So they obviously, they wouldn't say it unless they knew he was dead. So yeah, I don't know. Although, yeah, I mean, this is definitely an Agent 47 type hit. What's up with Twitch sending the notification for your live so late? Not that late, it just went live. We just went live. Dude's a cockroach though? Dude, the dude is dead. I don't know what to tell you, dude. The man does look like a cockroach. He looks like a thumb. Seems hard to kill. He's been a thorn in Putin's side. He's dead, bro. Your plane blows up, then you die. That's how they get you. You think? Oh, also news today. So as you guys know, the entire U.S. stock market has become more and more dependent on like 8, then now 7, maybe 6 companies to crush earnings. Otherwise, everything goes down. And big NVIDIA delivered today. NVIDIA, a lot of things were riding on NVIDIA today. I posted this meme. I wonder if I can find it. I was in general, by the way. If you're not in Atrioc Discord general, you're missing some great economics discussion. 1% of the time, and 99% is people saying they're EP. Where the fuck is it? I posted you know what? There's too much fucking text to scroll through. Where the fuck is it, dude? Christ, these guys they talk about the portal paradox all fucking day. Oh, wait, here it is, right? Damn, I am sure this will be worth it for this dumb fucking meme. Oh, Christ, I can't find it, dude. I'm scrolling and scrolling, and I'm sure that it's in here somewhere. Oh, God in heaven. Everyone, it's whatever. Someone clicked it. There it is. Open Discord. Oh, there it is, right there. It was this, which was on fucking, I don't know, Reddit this morning or whatever. And it's basically like all of these companies are relying on NVIDIA having earnings today. And if they don't, it would have been, I mean, everything would have been red, bro. But they did. They crushed. Yet again, all of these AI stocks are just keeping the market afloat. And yet again, NVIDIA raises, they fucking like doubled revenue for $1 trillion company, which means probably by tomorrow, because market hasn't opened yet, but probably by tomorrow, there's a good chance that NVIDIA will pass Amazon as the world's 5th most valuable company, which is fucking crazy because Amazon does 134 billion in revenue and NVIDIA does 13. This is, I mean, we're in a crazy market, bro. But yes, there's a very real chance. Obviously, it's still good for me, although, you know, I mean, I sold 3/4 of my NVIDIA in October of 22. But the other fourth is doing incredibly, and that is a significant chunk of change. Damn, I didn't know Visa had it like that. Oh yeah, Visa's actually an excellent investment. Do you think Hitman will add a limited time contract themed around this assassination, around the political assassination of Prigozhin? No, I very much doubt that. GeForce Now is actually super smooth. This has literally nothing to do with gaming. If you think NVIDIA stock is up even 1 iota because of gaming, that's not even a gaming company anymore. It has nothing to do with gaming. This is 1,000,000% AI data center. All right, this is, you can. I mean, literally, their revenues are like, it's like 11 billion data center and 2 billion gaming now. It's nothing to do with gaming, dude. I think gaming actually is down year over year. It's that every single AI company uses this, I don't know if it's API or programming language called CUDA to access the GPU, and it's the software that NVIDIA created. So everybody that learns how to program AI stuff uses CUDA in college. Then they go and they work at AI companies and they use CUDA. That's how they know how to do it. And that only works with NVIDIA GPUs. So everybody's got to buy NVIDIA GPUs. They're fucking running the game. Every AI startup needs NVIDIA, including in China. 40% of NVIDIA's revenues come from China, which is buying NVIDIA GPUs hand over fist entirely for AI. Hey, Big A, I just started investing. Any books you suggest? No, bro, we're talking about China today. AMD and PyTorch are spinning up an alternative. Yeah, there's a lot of alternatives. I just, as an investor, I wouldn't truly bank on them just yet. Thoughts on Rich Dad, Poor Dad? How about thoughts on shutting the fuck up? And let's talk about China. By the way, you can read the book. It's fine. I think that book, I read it a long time ago. It teaches you the very basic concept of like, don't buy flashy clothes and cars, but put your money to work, you know, in like investments or real estate or something. That's what it is. That's the entire book repeated over and over. It's like, hey, you could buy a Rolex or you could invest in a small business. And it's true. I mean, that'll get you there. Don't worry about not paying loans. Your lenders will worry about it. It's a fucking dumb book. Wait, they don't say that in there, do they? That's a really stupid statement. Unless you're incredibly rich, in which case they would. Is there any news in the professional Discord? Yeah, I had a good conversation in there today. Right now it's still invites, but I am going to open it up once we figure out all the settings and stuff. Probably by Monday. Do you have a business email you check often for stream? No. No, I don't. I used to have Pay the Musician. was the person you could message. I don't have that anymore, so I have no great way. I guess you could Twitter DM me. What's the plan for today? Why don't you read the fucking title, Spaghetti-O67? What do you think the plan is for today based on this title? Just give me your honest guess. They never learn. I swear to God. It's the most annoying question you can get asked as a streamer, especially when you put it in your title. It's a Jenna Ortega fan pod. How'd you guess? How'd you fucking guess? It is. It's do you hey, Atrioc, what's your favorite holiday? Well, listen, we're gonna start here in about 5, maybe 6. I mean, it's a pretty big segment, so I want to get into it. Is there anything else I missed? Nvidia earnings crushed, keeping everything afloat for a little longer. Thank you, Nvidia, keeping the economy afloat. You know that meme where it's like 3 battering rams at a door, and then there's a little Cheeto in the lock, and the Cheeto's Nvidia. I saw that today. That's so accurate. It's the only thing keeping so many things going wrong. Yes, but Prigozhin was killed. Yeah, we talked about that. It was insane. Elon wants Cybertruck tolerances to be 10 microns. Okay. I think most people just want it to fall apart. Big A, I've been craving more China content recently. Any chance you're going to talk about this stream? Man, shut the fuck up. I know you guys are memeing me, but it's so annoying. It's so annoying that every stream starts the same way with so many dumb questions. So many. It's like getting waterboarded. Elon said X's market cap would be $1 trillion today. Did he really? Elon X market cap. Did he say that? I did. X reaching $1 trillion market cap, not out of the question. Bro, yes it is. You get back to where Twitter was, which was tiny. You're not even there, bro. This thing's not gonna 100x. What are you talking about? I think he doesn't understand that banking apps can't print money. Actually, that's a great plan. If his plan is to create a banking app and then commit fraud and just that at least makes sense to me. I get it. That's at least a step-by-step plan to getting to the. Nothing else makes sense. Nobody's gonna pay a value. I mean, I don't know. Everything is inflated, but hey, Big A. Should I get my master's in AI or am I too late? Definitely not. If you actually like it, yeah, it's easy money. That's a great idea. If you think you can actually do the coursework and you're not gonna hate it, yeah, you will get paid a fuck ton of money out of college, assuming you have decent grades. The demand is insane for people that can work in artificial intelligence. That being said, if you can already do the work and you have some sort of degree even adjacent, probably just go into the field. Real world experience is going to beat that. Cool thing is, if you're ever doing an AI-based degree, you can use ChatGPT for every question and say, it's legal. I'm using AI. And then do a little like problem face. And then they can't get mad at you. Legally, they can't get mad at you. Do you think India pursuing satellites is good for their economy? I think that's such a small drop in the bucket. I think the fact that India landed on the moon is cool with their launch this week. It's not, their economy is not swinging one way or the other based on a couple satellites, bro. It's not. It's one of the biggest economies on Earth. They do a lot of things. Does that mean India owns the moon? Yeah. Yes. Yes. India, whoever lands on the moon the most recently owns it. So whenever you look up at the night sky and see the moon, sing the Indian national anthem, please. Do you think that the American pursuit of burgers is good for our economy? See, that's even different than his question because we do eat so many burgers that it does impact our economy. Like, it's actually a big deal, the amount of burgers we eat and the amount of food we consume. Like, but actually, satellites is so small by comparison that even your joke answer makes his look worse. Let's all sing it together. Oh, you guys start. I know all the words to all countries' national anthems. Of course I do. But I don't want to. I hate to be the first one to sing. Are you going to watch the debate? What debate? Probably not. I'll see a recap. From Warm, thank you for the 5 gifted. Gabe Dabia, thank you for the gifties. ISO Hog, thank you for the 13 months. From Warm, thank you for the tier 1. Thank you for the 8. Joan Light, thank you for the 2 months. Are you going to play Armored Core 6? Probably. I'm a little put off. I'm a little wary about it, but the reviews were good, right? So yeah, probably. Probably I will. Especially if it's like fun and hard, then I can grind it. Oh, speaking of grinding, before I get into What's Up Beijing, which is going to be a tour de force of China-based news and information and analysis. More important than all of that, the second biggest economy on Earth experiencing swings unheard of in the past 4 decades. More important than that is that if you guys missed it, I played Hollow Knight offline, shirtless, in the morning. Oh, wait. What? Oh, look at this guy. Look at his just this fucking Giga Chad stare. Chain on. Dodge, dodge, dodge. Uses spells? Giga Chad. Knowledge expanding. He's better than he ever was. This is peak masculinity. Dodging again. Oh, you're getting... Oh my God, he pogos off the thing. Dodging again. Easy clap. This part's easy. Dude's higher than the Indian space mission. And then phase 2. Look at that focus. A classy phase dodge. Oh. This is... Oh my... Look at the movement. Look at the movement. Okay. Dodge again. Yeah. Oh my God. He used a spell there. Intelligent. And yet, you'll notice he's still sticking to his guns and not using Descending Dark at one point. Just a little ping. No greed. A little ping. Now you got to get up there. This is actually, I found to be the hardest part. This part's so fucking annoying. Okay. Okay. Ah, dodge. Okay. Dodge. Okay. Wait. Get your shadow back. Wait. Dodge. Ah! Almost chokes it. Which Atrioc, the live one? I'm not touching the keyboard, bro. Look at the focus in my eyes, dude. Look at that fucking focus. I'm so fucking... That's why I love grinding, dude. My brain is off right now. It is 100% dialed in. I have no idea what's going on in the real world. I didn't want to wake Ari up because it was in the morning.
Let's go.
But most importantly, again, I only showed that to set up this, which is that was yesterday morning, and I posted it on Discord, and it was fun. This morning, is this what I'm thinking of?
Clean, right, finish, right, real hot. On one lecture, kept it dope with a lecture. 10.
Wait, I can't find it. Whatever. The point is, I did it again. Oh, yeah, here it is. There you go. The point is, I just fucking played it again.
We all four all got 1 foot. I swear, man, you niggas is done for. Go! They telling lies, we want the truth. Word to the world,
this one?
Coast. They like a tribe leaders in new school. Understand one thing, look, as long as we double you, I don't care. They can keep comparing whoever from past to present. I tell you, it's no one near. They cry out for the coast, cause when we drop, it's a different tier of lyricism. And
all right, skip it, skip it.
And care about fucking apologies, point phrase. Friends, my the epitome, never share truth. They compromised, all for the loot. We for the people and y'all for who? Let's see who they choose, nigga. Coast.
It be the R.A.S. Always, all day, on stage, off stage, nowadays. Always, sideways, best. Yahweh, God say, I wait, don't skip no step. Cut no corner. Yahweh, shortcut success. Learn niggas wanna violate how they
Yeah. It was my first try. I literally sat down and first tried it. I put on a fucking song and I first tried it. I'm getting nasty, dude. If Silk Song ever comes out, which it won't, but if it did, I'm fucking ready, bro. I'm fucking cracked right now. The shirt was holding you back? Yeah, the problem is I have a shirt on right now. Silk Song's not real. How do you think Chinese economy will affect Clint Stevens' schedule? Let's talk about that after we do What's Up Beijing, because I think there'll be a lot of important things to talk about. So, okay. That was it. I wanted to cover those things. I wanted to cover Prigozhin getting assassinated by Putin, NVIDIA crushing earnings, keeping the stock market afloat for now, and me crushing 2 absolute radiants on Radiant in a row, back to back, 2 days, shirtless. Moon landing. Oh, the only thing I wanted to say about the moon landing, if you guys don't know, India landed on the moon, not with people, but with a satellite or a probe. And at the same time, Russia had launched their own version, their own probe, and it failed. Like it didn't blow up, but the rover. So it's kind of funny that it's just more symbolic about India's continual rise and Russia's struggles. Yeah, Russia missed and it's just flowing off into space. It didn't crash. I think it just missed and is gone. But I just feel like India's having a moment, dude. India, I mean, they're having a decade. It feels like a cupping decade. Russia's crashed. I'm sorry. I'm mad. Either way, Russia's flopped and India's worked. They aim for the stars, though. Russia, Russia was the number 2 economy in the world and one of the most powerful nations when I was young. And now it's they're having high profile murders and their satellite programs literally crashing. It's no, it wasn't 500 years ago. I'm talking about the 90s, bro. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of the 90s, let's get to that very, very soon and talk about an extremely important country in geopolitical affairs and a show that we can all get behind. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, put your hand on your heart and sing along with the Chinese national anthem as we discuss what's going on in Beijing.
在北京。
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What's Up Beijing. A segment called What's Up Beijing, where we analyze what's going on in the world's second largest economy and one of the most important geopolitical actors in the world, China. All about what's going on in China, which is currently experiencing probably the most negative economic news it's ever faced. But before I tell you this news, I want to set the stage. No. There it is. I want to set the stage because there's a couple things you need to know before somebody on the internet says anything negative about China. So let's talk about myself, all right? I was born. I want to tell you why I'm so interested. I want to tell you why I'm so interested, why I do this segment called What's Up Beijing, why I think it's important to talk about, and what you need to say before I begin it. All right? So, I am a millennial, aka a Twitch boomer. That means I was born in the 1990s. Oh, this is me. I think I was scheming about opening a Pokemon card drop shipping company or something particularly Giga Chat in this photo. I was obviously starting a business of some sort. But this is me in the 90s, all right? And when I was born in the 1990s, China was not even in the top 10 economies worldwide. In fact, China, well, let's see if I can get this. Sorry, I'm going to cut this off a little bit. There, let's get like this. Okay, sorry. In the 1990s, China had a smaller GDP than Canada. I mean, its economy was smaller and less important on a global stage than Canada when I was born and during my lifetime. All right. In the subsequent 20 or so years, between the mid 90s and now, basically my entire life. All right. Going to school, going to college, getting a job. Every single year of my life as I grew up, China grew immensely. At a rate pretty much unheard of in human history. China grew at a massive percent every year. Until today, they are now the second largest economy in the world, knocking on the door of first. Okay? 500 million people during this rapid growth were pulled out of poverty. Which is, again, unprecedented in human history. And generally, whatever you think of the government, this is overall generally an incredible thing. Incredible. Okay? And so this relatively little economy during my lifetime and some of your lifetimes became a very big and powerful one. And overall good for their citizens. As this happened, though, tension started to rise. As what happens when there's one dominant power, then a rising power, tension started to rise. And people around the world, as jobs went from factories in other countries to China, they started to get a little bit spooked. And so they created something that I started to notice, which I have written for you here, this is my guide to writing a headline about China news outside of China. In China, everything's controlled by state media. You just write something positive. But outside of China, you follow this guide. Here's my guide to writing about China. If you have any bad news to write about China, you use the phrase China struggles blank. If there's anything bad, you say China struggles blank. China struggles to tackle population decline. Oh, there's ads? Dude, fucking kill me. Oh, I hate Twitch. Also Prime. Oh, kill me, dude. I'm so frustrated by these fucking ads. I hate stopping in the middle. I hate it. 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 I'm so mad. Oh, I'm so mad, dude. I'm so mad at fucking Twitch. Good time to Prime, though. No, I'm not going to Kick. In fact, I kind of want to make a video on, more about Kick, dude. All right, let me know when these ads are over. I'm not pausing again, so deal with it. I don't know what to tell you. Prime, dude. You should just wait. All right, let's see. Are we good? Are we good? Ads over? We're good? Some Chad rich guy, please gift 4,000 subs. Yeah. Is anyone here an oiler that wants to literally sell every single person? Watanabe, thank you for the gift. I'm joking. Don't have to do that. Listen, I'm going to get this figured out. I'm sure something is changeable. Something is changeable on my end because this has gotten so much worse. Thank you, librarian, though. Super portrait. All right, so I was here. I'm going to give you the guide on how to write a headline about news in China. If it is bad news, you write China struggles blank, aka China struggles to tackle population decline. China struggles to reassure wary businesses. China struggles with heat, flooding, and drought. China struggles with hospice care. China struggles with desertification. This is if it's a very easy system. You just write China struggles. No matter if it's like a small thing in China or in one city or isolated or local or one person, China as a whole struggles blank. It's great. Now, the harder part is if there's good news. And I've cracked this case as well. If you need to write a headline about China having any good news, you put blank at what cost? AKA, China's getting smarter, but at what cost? Wuhan has no more COVID cases, but at what cost? Serbia has rolled out the red carpet to China, but at what cost? Green transition in China? At what cost? China invests in Ethiopia, but at what cost? China's big cities get cleaner air. How could that be? But at what cost? And this one was great. China's curing cancer faster and cheaper than anywhere else, but some worry they may be going too fast. Okay? And on YouTube, where I work, this trend is so much worse. Anytime something even remotely bad happens in China, all of the thumbnails come out that say they are completely about to collapse. Andre Geek here said in 25 days, China's economy will collapse. That was a year ago. Graham Stephan said it's over. China's entire economy is about to collapse. He was generous and he gave them 29 days back in August 10th of 2022. So, I was telling you all this to let you know that I am distinctly aware. I am 100% aware of the incentive to hype things up. I'm aware of the incentive to, mislead or whatever or in a Chinese discussion on economics. And I'm telling you all this to tell you I'm aware of all that, and yet I am still breaking out the Xi Jinping laser eyes. I want you to know, I would not break these out for nothing. I wouldn't use the laser eyes. I wouldn't use the dark Xi danger, holy God, at what cost, unless I truly meant it. This week has been disastrous for China. And I want to go into it. I wouldn't use this. I wouldn't use the down arrow over Xi Jinping's eyes thumbnail. Okay, this is going to be the background of my thumbnail probably. I wouldn't use this unless I meant it. Okay? We are in a serious situation. This past week, which you could call China Turmoil Week based on all of the... I mean, it's been a fire hose of bad news. And I want to cover all of it. But all of it basically comes back to two main things. Okay? Two main things are at the heart of it. And I'm trying to explain it simply. And that is two things that have been at the heart of crises across the world, including United States in 2008 and Japan in 1991, and that is real estate and debt. Real estate and debt are really playing a major role in what's going on in China right now. China's on edge as fallout from its real estate crisis spreads. China's housing slump is much worse than official data shows. China's debt-fueled housing market is having a meltdown again. What is going on? Thing about Chinese real estate is it's a $52 trillion bubble, and that's from data in 2019. So it's even bigger. $52 trillion makes it the single largest asset class of anything in the entire world. Chinese real estate may be the world's most important single sector. That is bigger than U.S. treasuries. That is bigger by far than the U.S. housing market. It's incredibly big, incredibly important. It's like a third of China's GDP. If it doesn't keep growing, they are in some serious trouble. Again, their current asset bubble, I'm kind of cutting off here, but it eclipses the U.S. housing bubble, you can see here, in 2008 by like double. At the peak of the U.S. property boom, $900 billion a year was being invested in residential real estate. In the last 12 months, $1.4 trillion was invested in Chinese housing, and their economy is smaller than ours. So it's an even bigger percent. Okay? But what does this all mean? All right, so let's like explain it with visuals. All right, you guys have heard, of course, of the giant ghost cities in China. Empty apartment buildings built en masse that no one's living in. You've heard of the construction that is unfinished on many properties that people have paid for. You've heard of the vast public works projects that were created inefficiently and maybe have no use, like dozens of bridges to nowhere, things like that. Stadiums that are unfinished. You've heard of regions, local governments in China building multiple airports to service a single region. This one, for example, opened in 2014, cost $160 million to build and serves 3 to 5 flights a day. There's no demand. There's like 3 airports around the corner. There's no use. You've heard of all this, okay? You may have even heard of the metro stations built literally in the middle of nowhere. These are train stops that get out to nothing. All of this stuff has been built over decades and decades in China. And so far, it has been incredible for providing jobs and propping up the GDP and keeping growth going. But a lot of this stuff, almost all of this stuff, was built using debt. So this all started using debt, which leads to a lot of dangerous issues that are only now starting to bubble up. It kicked into high, but this began. So again, we've all known this for a while. Debt on top of debt on top of debt has been piling up, and all this has been being built. But finally, the cracks are starting to show. A few days ago, last week, Country Garden, which is the single largest real estate developer in China, stopped paying its bills. Stopped paying interest payments on all the debt that it owes. Now, this happened last year to a much smaller company called Evergrande. Maybe you heard about them. And that already was a problem. But China stepped in, helped manage their decline. They got bankrupt. Country Garden is 4 times bigger than Evergrande and is facing $200 billion in losses. And they are just one company of many that are starting to pile up with this problem. Immediately after this was announced, after they stopped making the first payment, their stock collapsed. It's now about to be delisted from the largest property developer in China to bankrupt in like days. Days. It disappeared, okay? This took this woman, who was the CEO of that company and the richest woman in all of Asia, lost $28.6 billion of her personal fortune. She went from like 30 billion to like 2 billion in like no time. All right. She lost all of her money. All right. That's just one. Again, the ripple effects are more dramatic. Why does this one company's collapse threaten the whole economy? Let's use a fictional person as an example to help you understand. So I created a guy named Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei. Which is the most common name in China. I Googled it. Okay? He is the John Smith of China. And he looks pretty happy. All right? So this guy, let's say he's upper middle class China and has been a beneficiary of the 40 years of economic boom. All right? He's doing pretty damn well for himself. He's got a good amount of money from a growing economy. He lives in a top city. All right? And he's ready to start putting his money to work. All right? This guy's doing well. So what does he do with all of the money he's accumulated? He's in the upper echelon of China. Well, the most common thing to do is to buy a house. So that's what he did. Zhang Wei just bought a house. Congratulations. Good for him. He's got a house. He's a homeowner. Now, a couple things you need to know. In China, 70% of household wealth is stored in real estate. That means people take 70% of their savings and use that for a house, basically. That's the idea. So 70% of this guy's money is now in the house he just bought. Now, unfortunately, in China, 90% of new homes are sold via pre-sale, which means you pay for it before it's even built. So they take the money and they promise you a home, and then they start constructing it later on. So he doesn't actually have his home yet. Also, the price to income ratio for the cities he's living in is now 14 times his income. Again, think of how unaffordable housing is in the United States. We are at 7 times, 7x. That is higher than the San Francisco Bay Area. That is incredibly expensive. So he's spending, well above his means and putting all of his savings into an expensive house. But the idea is that house is going to continue to grow in value. So we'll have a retirement plan. And he's borrowing to do this. Well, the worst could happen. Let's give him 2 examples. The worst thing that could happen is this.
The northern Chinese metropolis of Tianjin, construction has slowed to a quiet crawl. It belongs to Country Garden, China's largest property developer by sales volume before this year. But now it's mired in a debt crisis that's threatening to spill over into the rest of the world's second largest economy.
This Country Garden project was stopped after we built the framework. We got a notice from management. They haven't paid us since the Spring Festival in January.
Since
According
January.
to estimates from Japanese investment bank Nomura, Country Garden has nearly 1 million homes to complete. The developer has not publicly acknowledged that any of its projects have halted construction. But at 2 Tianjin projects Reuters visited on Friday, construction had partially or fully stopped, with workers complaining of months without pay.
We're very worried because since we arrived here in May, they've only given us living expenses of some $600 per person. We've not received a cent of other payments.
Once considered one of the more financially sound developers, Country Garden is now a bellwether of how the cycle has turned for developers. Its financial woes have added to the ongoing debt crisis in China's real estate sector.
So there's a really good chance your home doesn't even get built. For example, if you use Country Garden, the largest developer in China, they are likely facing bankruptcy and will not be finishing the home that you already prepaid for. That's bad. Here's some examples again from this article. I'm just going to switch to the article so you guys can see it. They poured their savings into homes that were never built. That's from January. That's before even things got bad. To Tang Chao, the apartment in Northeast China was where he and his wife were going to start a new life together. They put tens of thousands of dollars down for it, but months past its scheduled completion, only a concrete shell with wiring is all that's there. Soon, even their marriage unraveled. They poured all of their I didn't get my camera back. They poured all of their savings into this, and they don't get a house. Okay? A problem. What these and hundreds of thousands of other Chinese homebuyers couldn't have known was that the decades-long real estate boom would come to a sudden halt. Developers are running out of money. Okay, we'll get back to this. Here's a woman saying, "We never imagined homes would go unfinished in Shanghai. How would it be possible?" She paid 500,000 USD for an apartment in Shanghai that is not being built. Again, prepaid. Some of them put money down. Some of them prepaid the whole thing. Some of them paid half and are paying a mortgage for a home that is not being constructed. They're still paying the debt that they borrowed from a bank on a house they're never going to get, which is a real problem, which is causing a lot of people to decide they're going to stop paying their mortgage. A lot of people across the country are just saying, hey, I'm not going to pay for a place that is unfinished or never coming. All right? Which makes sense. But they owe the money to the bank, not to the developer. And when they stop paying their mortgages, that causes problems at banks. So not only is Country Garden in trouble, but Chinese banks are in trouble. Now let's go back to this guy. So he has 70% of his wealth in his house. Let's assume he's one of the lucky ones whose place is finished. All right. He paid for an already done place. Now he bought at the peak of the market, unfortunately, but he bought it. What is happening to his wealth, his 70% of his wealth in that house? It's all down. We are seeing alarming home price declines in basically every region in China by well over 10%, like 10, 15, 20%. So if you put 70% of your wealth in a house that you think is going to go up and it drops by a fifth in just, I mean, in a year with more gloom to come, that becomes very scary. Suddenly you don't want to invest in a business. Suddenly you don't want to start a family. Suddenly you don't feel as secure. You're not spending. This is all bad for the economy. All right. China's property crisis burns as the middle class is stuck with huge loans. They're cutting spending, postponing marriage, and boycotting their mortgage. Again, most Chinese thought that the housing market was a, quote, sure bet, that it was a good place to put all of your money you were making as a way to have money for retirement. It was going to grow in value. And again, America is no stranger to this. We did this in 2007. Everybody thought housing was a sure bet. You put your money into it, it'll always go up. Well, it's not going up. That being said, China's problems extend even further than that. So, on average, Chinese do not invest as much in stock market as other countries. They're less likely to trust it. But let's say he puts 10% of his money in the Hang Seng, the Hong Kong stock market. That's down too. It's into the deepest bear market territory it's been in years, dude. Because of Country Garden stock collapsing and other stocks feeling shady and spending being low, almost every one of these Chinese stocks is down. So if your money's in the stock market, you're losing it there too. More of your household wealth is evaporating. Fallen more than 20% from recent high, investors are more pessimistic about China's post-pandemic recovery. All right? Maybe buy the dip. Maybe buy the dip. And then the last 20% of your money, you probably just put in a bank, right? Just at least this part is safe. All right? You have savings. You kept some money as savings and you put it in a bank. The problem is in China, a lot of money is not put in commercial banks, of which there are very few and are tightly regulated by the government, but they are in shadow banks. Now, when you think of shadow banks, you could think of Shadow the Hedgehog stealing the Chaos Emeralds. That actually could count, I guess. That actually could count. Shadow banks are not as shady as the name implies. Basically, a shadow bank is any bank that doesn't take regular deposits, but still does banking activity, like loans, wealth investment vehicles, etc. Now, a lot of them could be shady. For example, payday loans are considered a shadow bank. Lehman Brothers in America was a shadow bank. You couldn't deposit there like Bank of America or Chase, but you could invest there. You could put money with their wealth vehicles. Lehman Brothers was a shadow bank. Bernie Madoff Investment Securities, the largest Ponzi scheme in history, was a shadow bank. And in general, shadow banks were a big part of the crisis of 2007-2008 because they're not regulated very well and they make big loans. So they end up needing to get bailed out because they make huge loans without thinking about it. And then eventually the debt piles up unsustainably and then nobody gets their money back and it chokes the economy. That might be happening because as of a few days after Country Garden went kaput, I'm going to say this wrong, but Zhongrong, the largest, one of the largest shadow banks in China, stopped making their payments. And that causes problems because that's like upper middle class to wealthy Chinese who have put their money to work in a bank that's promising them 7 to 8% return a year. And now they're not making any money and they're not talking about how they're going to get their money back. So I looked into it and these shadow banks look a lot like Ponzi schemes to me. They require a certain minimum investment and they promise 7 to 9% yield, well above regular banks. But how do they earn that higher yield? It looks like they do a thing called a cash pool. A cash pool, as far as I can understand, is a nice way of saying a Ponzi scheme, where they take all the money, they put it in a pool, and they use new entrants to repay old entrants. But now that new fundraising is drying up in China, the money is not being returned. And that being the last, where most savings are, anyone that hasn't bought a house or most people that have their savings are, that is starting to get really scary. And that is where you're starting to see actual protests. Does this video play? Wait, let me pull this up. Give me 1 second. I'm going to find this video. Yeah, we got it right here.
What do we know about these protests?
No, wait. There it is. People want their money back. And again, protests are very rare in the capital city of Beijing, given how strictly locked down it is. But that's how upset people are for their inability to get their money back. And what was the response of the government when people were angry at shadow banks for not paying their money back? Their answer was to send police to break it up and then send police to people at their homes to tell them to not protest anymore. The police started visiting shadow bank protesters at their homes to quash unrest. They got their names, they tracked them down, and they're now telling them to not protest. The state media in China is completely quiet about any trouble at these shadow banks, which again are not paying people back. Again, a good way to think about Zhongrong is like China's Blackstone, which is a gigantic wealth management fund that controls a ton of rich people's assets. All right. So we go back to our main man here and we notice everything is going badly for him. Okay. His house down in value. His bank deposits gone. His stock market money down in value. This is a tough situation. And this guy in this situation is not going to spend the money you need to keep an economy growing. And China is desperately trying to change that. The consumers are understandably, quote, gloomy. Okay, they do not want to spend money. They're desperately holding on to whatever money they have. And if you look at the China Consumer Confidence Index, it has been continually falling until March 2023, where they stopped publishing it. They just straight up stopped, which implies that the next data point was going to be pretty bad. It's always a good sign when you stop publishing it. So, what is our guy to do? I guess he could keep all of his money in cash, not invest in anything, and keep all of his money in cash. Except at the exact same time, China's currency is experiencing a big devaluation. China's currency is at the lowest point it's been since in over 15, 16 years. And you'll notice ever since Xi Jinping took office right at the peak, it has basically been trending down. So even if you hold your money in cash, it's worth less and less as time goes by. So China's attempting to slow its currency slump. And all of this could maybe be okay. Maybe it's something you could ride out. You know, maybe it's a temporarily debt bubble. You could maybe print some money, figure it out, stretch out the debts over a while, and eventually things bounce back. The problem is China doesn't have time because for the first time in 6 decades, their population has started to fall, and it will never go back to where it was. Again, they have peaked. They peaked in 2022. Now, every year, there are fewer Chinese people, which means if you already have too many houses and too many apartments, next year, there's even more too many because there's less people. Do you understand? You need a baby boom to make real estate continually go up in value because there's more people demanding fewer houses. If there's less and less people for more and more houses, the prices will continue to crater. And that baby boom is not coming. In fact, fertility rate just dropped to record low last year. It's the lowest of any country with a population over 100 million. They are the absolute lowest. There are no new babies coming. But thankfully, our main man already had a baby. This guy's done his part. That's why his son, Zhang Wei Jr., is here. Yes, lower than Japan. Yeah. This is Zhang Wei Jr., and he's happy. Look at this guy. This guy's crushing it. He's got a kid. This kid's growing up. This kid went to a top university in China. He is ready to take on the world. The only problem is he is graduating into one of the worst youth unemployment crises in any country in the entire world, and certainly in China's history. They have record youth unemployment. The jobs market is getting incredibly tough for new graduates to crack. And the response from China's government is don't be so picky. Don't be so picky about a job. Find something, bro. Whatever the pay, figure it out. Xi Jinping directly is telling them to, quote, eat bitterness. We talked about this. Eat bitterness, which is basically a metaphor for like endure hardship now for reward later. But when you're asking that of the entire youth of a country, that's tough. That's tough. Especially as they're going to be required more and more to take care of an aging population that is massive. By the way, these statistics on youth unemployment seen in pink here have only gotten higher and higher and higher into this year. They hit a record of 21.3% in June. We talked about that on this channel. And then they stopped reporting it. That just happened like a week ago. They've decided they're not going to report it anymore. So yet again, we can see that it's getting worse. And again, 21.3% youth unemployment is like Belarus level. I mean, it's bad for such a big country. That's crazy. So you might see a pattern. You might see a pattern here from all this bad news that I'm saying, which is that China is hiding more and more data from the rest of the world. Youth jobless rate, consumer confidence, basically anything that would look bad, they are just, at first people thought they were massaging the numbers. Now they're just outright hiding them. And I want to talk about why all of this bad news in China is particularly hard for them to get out of. Because again, the economy of the country still has many bright spots. But ideally, in this situation, you'd want to grow through this problem, ideally with some kind of foreign direct investment. The problem is, I want to give a theory as to why China has been having these problems extra bad lately. And it starts with this man. So I try on this show to take complex economic concepts and find a simple way to say them that maybe will stick in your brain. So I've come up with one. I came up with it. I came up with it in bed last night, actually, when I was falling asleep. So I'm going to try and say it in a few words. All right, here they are. Here's my theory on why things are getting so much worse recently. Xi Jinping is scaring the hoes. If you take away one thing from all of this, Xi Jinping is overall globally scaring the hoes. So let's take a flashback here to the 1970s when China first started opening up after Mao, Chairman Mao Zedong, Great Famine, terrible times for China. There was this guy on the right, Deng Xiaoping. Now, this guy's not a hero. This guy's not, again, whatever. I'm not overly praising him, but I want to say he's probably the best leader China's ever had. And if you are a citizen of a country, you want a leader like this because he's a pragmatist. He had a famous quote where he said, "It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white as long as it catches mice," which basically meant we're not going to be so ideologically driven like Mao was. We're going to do things that work. Whatever works, we're going to do it. That was his great quote. And it worked, okay? Instead of worrying about whether things were like 100% aligned with the ideals, they just opened the economy in certain places. They allowed people to start businesses and shit started to grow. Again, this is the famous picture of Coca-Cola finally reaching China, thanks to Deng Xiaoping. And they started to see incredible growth and incredible foreign direct investment. Other countries were investing in China. They were putting their money into China, seeing the potential. He also said, "Observe calmly, secure our position, cope with affairs calmly, hide our capacities and bide our time, maintain a low profile." His plan was for China to get very rich in silence, to not piss anybody off and just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And it was an excellent plan. For Chinese citizens, this was crushing. The country was growing and growing, and nobody even really noticed. They were growing and growing and growing and getting bigger and more powerful, and nobody noticed. And then, right around the time GTA 5 came out, this Chad took power. Then Xi Jinping said the shirt's coming off, dude. Everybody needs to know. He has been in power for the exact length of one GTA 5 game, and he has changed everything. Suddenly, the quiet part was out the window. And he wanted everybody to know not just how great China was, but how great he was. A huge part of Xi Jinping's rule has been enforcing how great he is particularly. They have literally Xi Jinping Thought School for kids as young as 10 that some parents are labeling disgusting. I mean, it's like a personality cult. You have to learn his exact writings in school. He's taught to be amazing and infallible. All the things that feel more like a North Korea style country and not the world's second largest economy. And he has been incredibly repressive in cracking down on any dissent and any bad news out of China. This article was great. When tragedy strikes in China, the government cracks down on grief. Let me pull this up. Which basically showed, for example, when a roof caved in a gymnasium where a coach and 10 middle school girls died, the government never released their names and deleted social media posts sharing their names and tributes. Literally just any bad news is hidden. The Great Firewall has never been more oppressive than under Xi Jinping's regime. Dozens or hundreds died in severe flooding last week. All of that has completely been censored. And all of this has a chilling effect on how the rest of the world sees China. Even if it works within China, it has a chilling effect on how the rest of the world sees China. So let me go back to... Go back to this. As recently as 8 hours ago, there was this news story of a man who fled China by jet ski all the way to South Korea. This happened 8 hours ago. I wanted to include it because it was funny. This guy jet skied out of China over to Korea to escape. What was his crime? What was he jailed for that he was then escaping and trying to get out of? It turns out his only crime was he wore this shirt called Hitler, comparing Xi to Hitler. Okay? He served an 18-month prison sentence for this shirt. And now has to flee the country. Now, again, I don't think Xi Jinping is Hitler, but I do think you should be allowed to wear whatever fucking shirt you want. And I can go on Amazon right now and buy a fuck Biden flag. This is the most popular retailer in the country. And it's like a top seller. I can buy 10 of these to my home if I wanted to. On the other hand, China's version of Amazon, Alibaba, which was for a time like their crown jewel company, one of the best tech companies in China, rapidly growing, huge valuation. As you guys may know, the CEO, Jack Ma, went missing for 2 months when he disagreed with the Chinese government. He just went he's back, obviously. They didn't kill him or anything, but he went missing. He was made to hide. And that caused an extremely chilling effect on the Alibaba stock. The crackdown they made, not only on the CEO, but on, they forced Alibaba to make common prosperity payments and things like that. The stock has tumbled from 317 to 76, like a third of its value. And this is one of the biggest tech companies in China. China's business leaders are saying the country that let them thrive is slipping away, largely due to this cult of personality and crackdown by Xi Jinping. There's no place for the innovation they ran with for 30 years in a system dominated by one ruler. And China's business elite aren't the only ones that see it that way. You see, foreign direct investment, we talked about this is what money flowing into China, is at the lowest it's been since 1998. People are pulling money out of the country. People are literally afraid to invest in anything in China because they don't know if it can get cracked down on by Xi Jinping. Now, what does this mean for like how China is? Oh, what happened in 16? I'm not 100% sure. If you look at like how China is thought of, like what is the perception of China in other countries? In the United States, it is literally the lowest it's ever been. I can move this over. It is the lowest it's ever been. People in the United States have never been more unfavorable on China in the history of the country. Which is pretty crazy. And then in the rest of the world, it's historically high as well. Pretty much everyone has been turned off. They've been scared by Xi Jinping's attitude and way he's running the country. And that is reflecting in exports. So this is the change in exports, year over year change in exports from Russia and every country. I mean, from China and every country. You'll notice 80% up in Russia, down in every other country. Every single other country is importing less stuff from China, except for Russia's obviously getting more because they have no other trading partners. That is not what you want as you're already going into an economic slowdown. You want this stuff to be up. It's very important that your trade is doing well when your real estate market's collapsing. Additionally, despite being the dominant economic power in Asia, they don't have a ton of friends around them. Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Philippines, India are all either foes or frenemies at best. They're surrounded on all sides by neighbors that are not as friendly as they'd like to be, given their ability to be their dominant trading partner. So what does this mean? Oh, by the way, I mean, a few days ago, Japan, Korea, and United States signed a trilateral partnership for defense. Japan and Korea are right on China's borders. They should be close friends with China's. Instead, they're signing deals with Biden. So what is China's plan? What is their plan for all of this? Step one is BRICS. Okay? BRICS. This BRICS wall. Not these BRICS, this BRICS. The group of 5 nations in mostly the global south, all up and coming. Russia, India, South Africa, China, Brazil. Yeah, Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, China. This is AI generated, by the way, because, and BRICS, if you don't know, in 1995 was a small share of the global economy, these 5 countries. But now, these 5 countries are bigger than the G7, which is America, Japan, Germany, France, Britain. You know, BRICS is a very dominant force in the world. These countries are more and more powerful, and they're having a meeting right now. Like as we speak, there's a meeting in South Africa of all the nations of BRICS to talk about the future. And China is urging BRICS to become a geopolitical rival to the G7. They basically want to become closer with these 5 countries and be a real threat to the G7 countries. Xi Jinping, as you can see here, a few days ago, landing in South Africa to fanfare. Attempting to begin talking about making BRICS stronger. The problem is, it doesn't really look like this in reality. This is this is a fiction. In reality, Vladimir Putin can't even attend because he's wanted for international war crimes. So he had to teleconference in. Xi Jinping, despite being scheduled to speak, decided not to at the last second. I don't know why. And so had a deputy speak for him. I actually don't know why. I'm interested in understanding more. And their calls for accelerated BRICS expansion were kind of shot down, at least today. Again, I was reading today. This could all change. But the idea was to add a bunch more countries to BRICS, which they may do. But a lot of roadblocks were put up today by India and Brazil, who have both been trying to get a little bit cozier with the West lately. Specifically, Biden called Lula last week. They were talking. They were talking before this event. Next week, Biden's flying to India to meet with Modi. In fact, in July, Modi and Biden raised a toast to everlasting friendship. So clearly, at the very least, India, which is by far the most important member of BRICS other than China, like China really needs India more than anyone else. India is the belle of the ball right now, dude. India's playing both sides and coming out on top. Everybody wants to be friends with India. And US and India have signed a defense and tech deal this year. So clearly, they are not trying to be part of an alliance against the G7. They actually spoke out against it. Joe Biden said India is the most important country in the world to him. Obviously, I'm assuming other than the United States, which he's the president of. But clearly, this is important. So, the BRICS plan, if it does play out, will take a lot longer and be more unsteady than I think China needs. So what is going to happen? Is China going to collapse in 29 days? The answer is no. No. Hell no. There's no shot. Okay? There's still a very powerful economy. There are still many good things going on in China. Specifically, despite blockades, they're creating many more homegrown chips, tasty microchips than ever before. They've been growing that industry. And electric vehicles, China is dominating the market. China is becoming the number one car exporter in the world. They just passed Germany and are on track to pass Japan. Electric vehicles are the future, and China controls the market. They're doing incredibly well. There's plenty of good things, but the real estate bust is going to have serious and significant impacts. If you guys know, in the 1990s, when Japan had their real estate bust, they had 2 decades of lost growth, of flat growth. 2 lost decades, coming up on 3, really. China's real estate bubble is much bigger than that, and they aren't already rich the way Japan was. They are facing some seriously tough years ahead. And, you know, when you think about it, a country that has extremely high youth unemployment, a bunch of young, mostly male men that can't find a job and aren't optimistic about the future, has often in history led to military action. Either those people get mad at the government or the government sends them to get mad at somebody else. Mostly male men, I'm sorry. A mostly male young populace. So, I don't know. Is China preparing for war? We could ask Xi Jinping, who says, yes, they are. And maybe the world should take him seriously. We may never know. We may never know. What I want to say, I don't think this is going to resolve easily and peacefully like last year's Evergrande crisis. This feels much bigger, and it feels mostly like the end of 40 years of easy growth into a much more turbulent time in China ahead. And if you want to know more about that, then keep watching What's Up Beijing every week here on Marketing Monday. Thank you for watching, and thank you for the update on This Week in China. Hope you enjoyed. Pretty insane stuff, bro. Pretty insane stuff. I'm a little blown away. Can you do it again? I just got here. By the way, I also want to say something. I didn't really include this in the presentation. China is facing different economic problems, but we are facing our own economic problems here, not just in America, but in almost every country worldwide. It's not only China heading into issues, but China's just more dramatic and pronounced right now. And they are, I think, in a uniquely bad situation because of their weakening currency, lack of recognized allies, property crisis, debt crisis, banking crisis, all hitting at once. Is the U.S. shifting from China manufacturing to Mexico? Mexico has passed China as U.S.'s number 1 trading partner. And in fact, I think our number 1 and 2 are Mexico and Canada now. So the United States is really focused on its own continent. And some countries are trying to move to India. But again, I don't want to overplay it. China is still the world's manufacturer. China is the maker of almost like a huge chunk of everything in the world. And they export a ton. And like for cars specifically, I'm very bullish on China. I think they're going to keep dominating electric vehicles. But a lot of problems. Is there anything that could change the leadership of China? No, the problem is that Xi Jinping is kind of like dictator for life, bro. He is surrounded by supporters in all levels of the government, is in the beginning of a new 5-year term, which nobody ever takes usually. He took a third 5-year term, and I don't think anything's stopping him from a fourth. I mean, I will say, like, his popularity has to go down as this continues, because he had two things he wanted to hang his hat on. One was the economy, which was great when he started and has gotten worse. And two was like his handling of COVID, which again was considered great when he started because they had the lockdowns, but they lasted so long, people hated him. So like, there's a lot of things that are people turning on him for. I wouldn't call him a dictator, but I would say he is the sole face of power in China. Did you see the GOP debate? No, this GOP debate doesn't matter, bro. It's so wasteful. Nobody is going to vote for any of those candidates. What's the point? Literally, what's the point? It's like you have to be a fucking politics wonk to care. Trump is the only candidate that's viable for the GOP right now, and he's not at the debate. So why it's like I could watch fucking 15 random people debate, and it would be the same effect. Could more immigration theoretically solve the problem? I guess. Yeah, I mean, it would help any country to have more immigration as their population declines. I don't think the Chinese EV car market translates to other Western countries, though, because they're cheap, slow, and affordable, which doesn't work in America. No, I think you have an outdated view on it. I think China makes the best EVs. They have the best manufacturers of it. They're literally selling in all countries. They're selling in Europe. America doesn't buy them because America is obviously not going to buy Chinese cars. But like Europe is buying a ton of Chinese cars. Japan's buying Chinese cars. They're selling Chinese cars all over. They're doing really well. I mean, they're crushing. The BYD Blade batteries. I mean, they have excellent battery technology. They're doing really well. Their cars are a huge winning point for them. And if they pass Japan, that's going to be crazy. What if the NFL comes to China? Will that save them? Yeah, that would do it. American having outdated views on China is a fact. Yeah, 100%. America still thinks China can only make cheap stuff. They can't. They've moved to the value chain a lot. The thing is, when you put all of the factories in one country and people build all the stuff, they get better at building the stuff than people used to be in the other countries. China's ahead of the game on batteries. They're ahead of the game on a lot of things, dude. The only thing is semiconductors, which are made in Taiwan, which that's a big contention point. LeBron going to China would make China's GDP number one. I am not 100% sure of that, but you have to try it. Did you see NVIDIA earnings today? I talked about it already. It's amazing. It's good for me, obviously. What are your thoughts on semiconductor industry? My thoughts are it's very, very important, and it's all concentrated in one small country that is right next to China that wants to start a war with it. So if anything would ever trigger World War III, it's the fact that Taiwan, a small island that China thinks they own, has all of the global microchips. That's what I think. I think that's the most interesting thing about the world right now is everything balances on the head of this tiny little island. Why doesn't Taiwan just move? Do you see India-China relations improving? I think China would love that. I think everybody wants to improve relations with India. India's the belle of the ball, dude. India's like they're just a huge economy that hasn't allied with anybody yet. They haven't like picked a side. And they're neighbors with China. And they're growing. And they have great demographics. They have tons of young people. They're going to have like 30 years of growth. India's in a great spot, bro. Thoughts on India corruption? Yeah, they have corruption. 100% they have corruption, dude. Well, I mean, they have an extreme amount of... Every country has corruption, including the country that I'm in. But India has it pretty bad. But again, it's almost like you can't fight demographics, dude. I'm just saying, I would take the over. I would bet over that things were going to look up for India 5-10 years from now. I think it's going to keep getting better. I think they just have a lot of things on their side. And they are more... likely to receive investment globally than China is, because China has a lot of dangers. I wanted to show you guys something, dude. It was crazy. I didn't get to include this. Wait. Check this out, dude. Just to get like a boots on the ground visual of it. This dude is in China right now. And for fucking $973, he was able to rent a $4.5 million villa overnight in China. I think it's under Evergrande. It had a pool, karaoke room, mahjong room, elevator, 10,000 square feet. And it's in a luxury development process. And he drove around it empty, dude. Empty. Chinese banks are likely sitting on trillions of dollars of delinquent loans. I say this confidently. The worst is brewing here. I mean, there's like dozens of on this place, and it's just completely fucking empty. This is the place. Again, they're completely underwater on all these constructions. No one's buying them at the prices they thought they would. They're trying to figure out what to do with them, dude. And I think one thing he said was interesting, which was like, let's see. I can't find it. It was basically that like Chinese people have always thought that real estate is the best place to put your money. And they're now finally waking up to the fact that it's not. And it's going to cause a whole hell of a lot of problems. We'll see. I can't find it, but that's the idea. How do you educate yourself on geopolitical situations without falling into bias? You have to read a lot. You have to read from different sources. It's hard with China because state media is so impossibly biased. You take a lot, but there's a lot of boots in the ground sources you can find. What is the Evergrande crisis? Evergrande crisis is small fries. Evergrande crisis was last year. A smaller property developer in China went out of business, basically leaving a lot of homes unbuilt. But a few days ago, a much bigger, the biggest, in fact, in all of China, just went out of business or defaulted, causing a much bigger ripple effect. Could the average Chinese person sue the construction companies to recoup losses if they're unable to build a house? No, because they'll go out of business. You can't sue a company that goes bankrupt, bro. There's nothing left. How much bigger was this housing company than Evergrande? It was 4 times bigger. And again, one of many companies that are also not defaulting on payments, including shadow banks. Have they heard of government bailouts? That's the thing, they have. So initially I was like, why doesn't China do what America did in 2008 and just print a fuck ton of money, bail everything out, cut interest rates to 0, and just try to grow your way out of it, like with, even if you reinflate the bubble. Why wouldn't they do that? First, my understanding is that Xi Jinping is personally opposed to massive stimulus for whatever reason. Again, maybe for good reason. But the problem is, the real thing that's holding him back is that if you do all of that stuff, kind of the rest of the world has to do it with you at the same time. Otherwise, you super devalue your currency. So in 2008, when America did it, every country also did it. And so we didn't get a huge amount of problems from the stimulus itself. But if China were to do stimulus right now, it would fuck their currency even more than it's already being fucked. I mean, it would crater the yuan. And so they're I mean, from what I'm reading, they're kind of handcuffed. They can't do the kind of stimulus they might like to do without causing much more serious impacts to their currency than what happened to America back in '08. So they're just in a really hard spot. I saw a good photo. I should have included it. It was like China as a boat trying to navigate between a huge fucking whirlpool and like a fucking stormy rock storm hurricane or whatever. Like they're trying to find the one safe path, and I don't think they're going to be able to do it. So, yeah, again, China often keeps their currency lower than it should be to help exports. I don't want to get too into the details of the weeds of imports exports, but it does help. At a certain point, it's bad. If it gets too low, it's bad. And it also makes your imports more expensive, which means Chinese citizens, if they want to buy anything from other countries, it's harder. And they're already in bad spots. So yeah, that's it. It's giving off pre-Nazi Germany vibes. I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. I think what's more likely to happen, from what I'm reading and my understanding, is like an even more extreme version of what happened to Japan. And like, do you guys understand that in the 80s, Japan was like thought to be able to pass America? Japan was on a huge upswing, and largely it was due to a big property bubble. 14 of the top 20 companies in the world in the 80s were Japanese. If you look at old 80s movies, I'll give you an example. I got an example for you, actually. I got an example. Let me find it. Yeah, here. This is 1998's vision of what 2015 would look like. This is Back to the Future Part 2, where Marty McFly in the future is wearing dual Rising Sun ties and being fired by his Japanese boss. Let's see if we can find the clip.
McFly!
Fujitsu-san, konnichiwa!
McFly! I was monitoring that scan you just interfaced. You are terminated!
Terminated? No! It wasn't my fault, sir! It was Needles! Needles was behind the whole thing!
And you cooperated!
No, I didn't! It was a sting operation! I was setting them up!
Read my facts!
No! Please, no, I
Now,
cannot!
they got the Zoom call right. They got the part where you fax stuff.
I'm being fired! I'm fired! Ah!
Yeah, they didn't quite get that right. But in the 80s, everyone thought Japan would take over the world. And then in 1991, Japan had a massive property bubble burst. And everything went to shit. But Japan managed it very well. They contained like the social unrest. All it was like a managed decline period of 18 years of no growth. No, ads, bummer. So yeah, that's what you got, bro. You got 18 years of no growth, if not more. So that's what I'm worried will happen to China. I'm worried China's going to have a stagnation period after 40 years of things being good and up and to the right. They're going to have like a long time of like, oh shit, things are either flat to down. And that would worry me. Especially if a leader suddenly became unpopular and wanted to do military action on Taiwan to like distract from reduced opportunity. I read that article. Why does the U.S. have more debt than everyone else? they don't. U.S. has a lot. I mean, in raw value debt, yes, they do, but it's usually by debt to GDP. U.S. has a lot of debt. U.S. has a fuck ton of debt. Japan's debt is worse. Japan has a higher debt to GDP. And then China, their national government has less debt to GDP, but their local governments are incredibly indebted. So I didn't really talk about this because I was already so long, but like, think of like the Chinese version of Florida, okay? China has states, right? They have their own local governments. They have been building all of these. I'm trying to find an example here. All of these airports and stadiums and bridges and metro stations with debt, okay? Massive amounts of debt in order to hit growth targets set by Xi Jinping. So they have been, artificially inflating their local area growth by just building, by taking on debt and building. And a lot of that debt was in part funded by land sales to property developers for houses. The idea was, okay, we will sell you this land to build apartments, and then we'll take that money, borrow more money, and build a lot of things to make that land more valuable so we make more money in the future. So it's a win-win. People come live here, they have new airports, they have new stuff, and that kind of works for the first airport and the first stadium and the first bridge, Like the city becomes better when you add one metro station or, whatever, one high-speed rail. But when you do it again, it's less effective. You understand? When you're in a small region in China and you have 14 airports, suddenly each one is diminishing returns and you're still spending the same amount. So you're not getting the growth you were promised and you're spending more and more debt. And they've been doing this. I like this guy, Michael Pettis. I think he's one of the best writers on China. Around 2012, 2013, this stuff started to become less and less effective, and they just kept doubling down on it. And in fact, they had their first mini property bubble burst in 2015, and what China did was triple down. They cut rates, increased debt, and just started spending their way out of it with more random building. And now the problem's even bigger. It's more inflated. It's more dangerous. So, that's what's going on. And all of it gets worse with declining birth rate. Again, until 2022, China's population was increasing. Now, every year, they have less people. That makes everything harder. And we're going to have that in America. We haven't hit our peak yet. The millennial bubble is keeping things afloat, too. Again, right now in America, one great way I heard it described, you guys know how, noise-canceling headphones work? Oh, shit. Do you know how they work? They take the ambient sound and create a 180-degree opposite sound. And that cancels it out. They do the exact inverse of what is being heard around you. We kind of have that in America right now, where we have leftover huge stimulus money and this big boom of millennials, which is hitting their prime spending age right now, counterbalancing debt problems and rising interest rates from the government. It's like we're kind of getting a Goldilocks. I think it's going to end badly, but right now it's like they're kind of canceling each other out, and we're not seeing the collapse that you might expect. In China, both of those things are working together. They have the demographic problems are bad, plus the real estate debt is bad. Everything is working together to make things bad and worse. So, while I think we will get to our own reckoning, China's experiencing it now, and it's bad. Doesn't immigration help America, or doesn't it really help China? Yes. Again, America's demographic problem isn't as bad as other countries because we have immigration, but we're doing everything we can to stop it and choke it off, which is bad. And we're still having a declining birth rate, so we're still going to have problems. It's not. Social Security is not going to be funded, bro. When Zoomers are old, you're not getting your Social Security payment, dude. There's just no way. I just don't see how it pays out. But that's what I'm. But what if China finds the One Piece? It's totally possible. actual quote from a 75-year-old family friend I saw on Facebook today. I don't care if this country goes to hell in a handbasket. I lived in the best years. Was he a senator, perhaps? Because that's what our entire country is run by like fucking 70+ boomers who vote everything to make their last few years better at the expense of the future. It's miserable. What will you do to save China? I will keep on playing Tencent games. I will play Project L by Riot Games. And I will do my part. I will keep on playing games that I kind of hate because they make me feel bad and waste my time. I will keep on grinding TFT. I'm sure many of you will keep spending money on Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. And we'll be doing our part to save China. Anyway, that's the update, bros. I think I answered the questions. I hope you enjoyed it. That was a lot of research went into that. I've been very fascinated on it, dude. I'm super interested. This is all great info. What would I do about it? No, I'm not. You as an individual, I'm assuming in America, are not going to do anything about it. It's just a good thing to know, to understand the world around you. And also, when you start to see parallels in your own country, you'll have a better idea. Battle report time? I got one from Dr. Battle coming on Monday. Dr. Battle will be doing another battle report on Monday. Hopefully a better one. Are you speculating the entire world run in a few years? No. Bro, that's also why I don't believe in collapse or anything. Do you guys understand that, like, you could have written a similar story about the United States in the peaks of 1929's Great Depression. What happened to the United States? Did it collapse? No, it had many bad years, and then it grew out of it. Like, it's possible. The problem is the U.S. had good demographics back then, and now China has bad demographics. The point is, I'm just saying, you could have made a thing about the United States in 2008. Did the United States collapse in 2008? No, it had bad years. Did Japan collapse in 1981? No, it had bad years. All I'm saying is, I think people almost subtly want everything to collapse. I see this from Zoomers a lot, where they're like, they almost secretly low-key wanted to get even worse. They wanted to they want to be Mad Max style, bro. And unfortunately, I think more like it's going to be a slow, flat to down grind, which is actually scarier almost. As we deal with a giant debt hangover from 20 years of overspending. I'm not a big doomer, and I see bright spots everywhere, but I also am a realist on the fact that we just got a big debt problem. Not only in China, but globally, but especially in China. China's got a real debt problem. Let's see. You know the name of the song? Which song? This one?
Last time I checked, I'm still hot, real hot. Kept it dope without a pill pop. Bill Cos, steady climbing to the hilltop. Tip top, did it.
God's Plan. God's Plan by Drake. That's what it is. God's Plan. Goes hard too. Goes fucking hard. All right. What do we do with the remaining time? I could watch a show. We could. Is there any other news? We could watch some. I mean, I'm interested in talking about more news right now. I might watch a house, but I have a little bit of time for that. It's only 9:14. I guess everyone was talking about this fucking debate. Was there anything funny from the debate? We could make fun of the debate, but I'm just uninterested. I'm honestly been so uninterested in like a lot of U.S. politics lately. It just feels completely irrelevant. Like they just talk back and forth. Nothing happens. Nothing changes. The election's probably going to be Trump Biden. It all feels like a complete waste of time. And no one's talking about real shit. It feels like it's all fucking like, I don't know, trans bathrooms or something. It completely. I'm bored of it. I don't care, bro. I saw the Prigozhin stuff. That was crazy, bro. Trump mugshot tomorrow? Sheesh. Is he really getting arrested tomorrow? It's going to be crazy if the dude is running from jail. That's going to be crazy. The coup was the briefing he get? What coup? Coup in Russia? The guy died. They killed him today. The coup in Niger. Not Nigeria, Niger. Different countries, bro. No, I don't know anything about it, really. I just know that it's a change of power. I don't know what it means. I heard, my understanding is that the old government of Niger was more friendly to Western interests, and the new one isn't. So I guess it's net bad for, like, getting oil out of them for the U.S. government, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea if the new person's... Did you see Carlson versus Prague? Yeah, it was boring. It was a snoozer. It was like it was a draw. Spoiler. It was like a boring draw. Fast, boring draw. Magnus had food poisoning? All right. Fine. Fine. I give him a pass. I'll give Magnus a pass. Okay?
We truly live in an age of wonders.
I'll give him a pass I'll be a hero for that. He played while sick and then he drew. But I would like to see a cool game. I think either way it'll be a cool finale, but I'm a huge Magnus stan, so I hope he wins. Half the candidates said climate change was a hoax. Good. I'm glad we're well on our way to dealing with it. Only half, that's progress. None of them are going to win anyway. Oh, I did see this. This was really funny. This shit was gas. DeSantis as Homelander was like uncanny. I mean, that is spot on. He is melting down. It is funny that Trump is like, getting indicted like 14 times a week and crushing DeSantis in the polls. And all he has to do is fucking Truth Social out once a week and say DeSantis is a dirty dog or something. And his poll numbers, and like, that's all he has to do. It's crazy. Like, DeSantis is trying so hard. He raised all this money. He's going across the countries, and none of it works. He's just completely getting owned. Oh, wait.
I did everything right and they indicted me.
I'm glad I have that button. It's been very useful this week. Extremely useful. Do you think we'll ever see more than a two-party system in the U.S.? I'm hopeful that it's possible. It's like, here's why my theory. I'm not saying anytime soon. I'm just saying, here's my theory. And I'm not saying it'll be a good third party either. It'll probably be the Mr. Beast party. Here's my theory. For a lot of things that have been static in the U.S. for a long time, I'm going to give you an example. Two companies, Hershey's and Mars, have controlled the entire chocolate market forever. Then a guy named Mr. Beast comes along and using the power of the internet is changing things. There is a possibility that because politicians are so fucking bad at using the internet to attract voters, that there's a way a third party could leapfrog. But it would probably be like a fucking Jake Paul, bro. It's going to be someone with a huge online audience that can get around the traditional ways that the GOP and the DNC have controlled access. And so I think it's a non-zero chance that there's a fucking Mr. Beast type, like the next Mr. Beast or whatever, has such a big online platform they can use that to. It's happened in other countries. I think Brazil had some YouTubers run for president, or not president, but elected office and win. But I think it's legit. I think it's possible. I think it's undercounted by political establishment. Hey, Big A, is Raytheon a good place to work at? Yes, but please don't message my dad. My dad told me 7 different people, most of them young, have messaged him after watching him get drunk on my stream. They message him on the internal Slack and they say, hey, are you Atrioc's dad? I saw you do 14 shots or whatever. It's insane. He's getting it. He's literally getting it regularly. He got more internal Raytheon Slacks than he got emails when he leaked his email. More Raytheon employees contacted him than regular people. So if you join, just leave my dad out of it, bro. Atrioc, your chair is so loud. It is kind of squeak town, huh? This chair is so squeaky. I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. I don't want to get a new chair because it's kind of expensive. Have you seen the Lockheed Martin streetwear brand? I'm going to buy it right now. Lockheed Martin streetwear? That's insane. I should probably save this and make it a wins and fail. This is really funny. Garms dealer. What the fuck is this? A Korean apparel company licensed the Lockheed Martin brand to sell clothing in Korea. Part of a larger fashion trend in Korea where random Western brands like CNN or Kodak just take any random Western brand and throw it on a clothing. That's so funny. It's like the Chinese tattoo characters of clothing. What we do, we just put random Chinese characters on tattoos. That's funny, dude. I kind of want that. I kind of want a Lockheed Martin or a Kodak pants. If Ludwig ran for president, would you vote for him? Yeah, probably. If it was Trump, Biden, or Lud, but man, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it, dude. I really wouldn't like it. Here's the thing. I'm going to say an unpopular opinion. There's a lot of things I don't like about Biden, specifically that he's fucking father time. He's so fucking old. Doesn't get people excited. But I'm actually really impressed with his foreign policy. I like how Biden has handled targeted sanctions on China. I like how he's halted building alliances. I like how he's handled a lot. I think he's good at that. I wish he only did that. I wish he was 20 years younger and was head of the State Department. Because I really like all that stuff he's been doing. I don't like a lot of his domestic choices. I think he's doing a lot of things that are long-term bad to short-term prop up the economy so we can get through the election. But I like how he handles foreign policy. I think he's done a pretty solid job, and I think he has increased America's standing and relative strength during his tenure. I'll give him that. Biden's domestic policy is insanely good. I just disagree. I think there's some things I like about it. I think he's improved on antitrust. Again, I'm not overall negative. I just there's things the more I've read that I don't like. Biden was not bad. He's a mid-president. Yeah, I think it could be so much better. My larger theory is like, damn, if we have Trump and Biden again, we got a nation of 300 million people. These two geriatric fucks cannot be our two best options. I just there's gotta be better people out there. Now, you know, I would vote for Ludd over those two because I think he would know enough to hire the right people. But I would prefer just the leader that is like, I mean, it's funny. You know what's crazy? People give Bill Clinton a lot of shit for many reasons, mostly being a dog. But he was the last time we had a balanced budget. And when Bill Clinton was elected, was like 20 plus years ago, Bill Clinton is younger than both Trump and Biden now. Trump and Biden now are older than Bill Clinton. And he was our president 20 years ago. Like, we used to have presidents that were normal age. It's just, it shocks me. I 30 years ago. Yeah, I guess. President has to be boomer age. Obama was our youngest president. Was he? Was Obama the youngest president? I don't know, but I would like a young president, bro. A younger president. Somebody who's used the fucking internet. Someone who's, you know, I'm just someone who knows what the average, closer what the average person is experiencing. JFK was the youngest? Yeah, JFK. Some real JFK heads here in chat. Don't call JFK fans JFK heads. That's insensitive. That's the wrong word for them. The one thing making me happier in life is that I... All right, blink twice if he's got a... Close this. Anyway, yeah, JFK was our youngest president. True. Give me any dude who just finished doom queuing Valorant for 5 hours and shove him into volatile foreign policy. I just want all presidents of the world to be mid-level Valorant grinders, and so they can queue up together and share their frustrations. Philosopher kings. How long do you think till we get a millennial president? That's a good question. I don't know. When will we get a millennial president? Well, most millennials aren't 35 yet. The average millennial, I think, is 31, 32. So 3 more years till we get like the average millennial is old enough. And then pretty soon millennials will be the largest voting bloc. Pretty soon enough boomers will have died that the huge glut of millennials will now control voting. And that's when we're going to start voting everything good for ourselves like the boomers did. We're going to start voting Harry Potter sorting hats into every fucking school, dude. We're going to start voting Whole Foods on every street. We're going to start voting mandated avocado toast. And the problem is there's not enough Gen Z to ever really do the same thing. Unfortunately, they're just not, Gen Z is not a big enough generation. So they're like Gen X where they're going to get outvoted by boomers till they die. But in this case, millennials. So let's team up, you know? Let's just team up. Who will be the first president addicted to TikTok? That's a more dangerous one. I wonder who will be the first skibbity toilet president. You know what I'm saying? Who was the first elected official that grew up watching Skibbity Toilet? That's what I want to know. Barron Trump. Boomers greater than millennials TBH. That's a crazy take. You've personally insulted president at a world peace conference scrolling through Family Guy clips. Like at the United Nations, they have their fucking projection and then 2 fucking soap cutting and Family Guy clips on each side. So everyone else can pay attention. That's funny. Subway surfers at the State of the Union. Sheesh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to play out, bros. I don't know. But it's interesting. I always say, at least we live in interesting times. You know, bright side, bro. It's going to be interesting. We're not going to be in here's what I'll say, is most years in history, you can say this year is going to be just like last year. And for most years, that's right. But for our lifetimes, it's way off. I mean, 2020 was not like 2019, you know what I'm saying? And every year's been a little bit different. So there's something to that. There's something to that. I'm not sure if you've seen what I'm curious on your take on it. You're curious on my take on this. I'm interested. What are you going to show me? Whoa, what is this? I don't know anything about this. Let's see.
Soon you will be able to pay for groceries at every Whole Foods in the U.S. with just a swipe of your hand. Amazon says that the Pay by Palm technology will be at all of those stores nationwide by the end of the year.
Is it like a chip in your hand or what? Is it fingerprint scanning? How is it?
Here, customers just have to hover their hand over the device to pay. This method is already being used at 200 Whole Foods locations across 20 states, and you can also find it in other places, stores like Panera Bread. Hardware editor at TechCrunch, Brian Heater, joins us now. Brian,
let's just
tell us how this technology works.
Sure. So in terms of the actual enrollment process, the first time you go to one of these Amazon One locations, you wave your hand over it. That will enroll you in the program, and then you associate that with a credit card that you have on file.
Interesting. So you don't... Interesting. Finally, I can get my grilled cheese without whipping out my credit card. Yeah, I mean, how much data do they collect is the real question. How much biometric data are they getting? Is it just your palm image? What else can that be used for? I don't know. That's interesting. What's more interesting is like how this could possibly be abused by scammers, hackers, thieves. Can't you isn't there fake? Yeah, I'm walking out of Amazon with my big fake hands. I got 9 bags of groceries. My hands are fucking bloop, bloop. Hey guys, can you take a picture? Yeah, palm readers start becoming super rich. You ever get your palm read at a fucking county fair? Next week your fucking credit card's empty? I don't know. Some risks, dude. Some fucking risks.
In terms of the actual underlying technology behind it, it's not actually getting a read of the palm itself, which, I think is what most people expect. It's actually taking a look at the vein patterns underneath your hands, which Amazon is effectively saying is a way to do this kind of biometric identification without actually giving glad they know my vein patterns. Identifying information away.
That's fascinating. I mean, I think anybody who hears this story immediately goes to questions about safety, privacy, the data that's being collected. Amazon has been criticized in the past for some of the data that they collect, and whether they have...
This feels like such an unnecessary problem for Amazon to solve. All this does is help you fire one grocery attendant, and you already have self-checkout, so that, that's all it is, bro. Encourage people to spend more casually, I guess. I thought they didn't they do the stores where you could just walk out and it was automatic and they had a bunch of people stealing? That was Amazon? This is Amazon. It's Whole Foods, right? Whole Foods is Amazon, bro. Keep up. They bought them 2014. Ask the cashier to shake your hand and then slam it down. Thank you for bagging my groceries. I was trying to give you a firm handshake. You slam it down. You paid, and then you run out. That's genius. That's genius. Your hand gets declined. Yeah, it is funny. Like in a world where this becomes really popular, like you like lose your hand in a construction accident or something, and you lose your access to banking. You just can't buy things anymore. Yeah, I don't know. It's strange. It's not. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not like deeply fucking panicked over it. I just don't think it's very useful. I don't know how much it saves.
Properly notified consumers about that. What safeguards is Amazon taking?
Sure. Well, the primary one is all of this is going through.
One thing I will say, though, I'm going to be dead honest with you. In my experience, if it actually is more convenient, like if it's actually like, and it has to be significant, like not like 1% more convenient, but if it like feels good and fast, everyone that's complaining about privacy will just do it. I have never seen people consistently stick by their guns regarding privacy or anything. If they like it, they do it. Everyone talks about it and they're afraid about it, and then the second it happens, they do it. If it's even a little bit more convenient. So, I mean, I can see why they try it. I don't see how it really saves too much at all.
Amazon's cloud servers. So this is encrypted information. Amazon has generally done a good job of protecting privacy through the.
He's saying so many uhs.
Cloud itself.
Generally,
I think one of the sort of bigger concerns around this specifically is that unlike the biometric data that you're giving on your phone, for example, that's stored locally on the device itself, but this is going up into the cloud. So like theoretically, somebody could potentially grab that data, but it's intensely difficult.
Theoretically, maybe, possibly, somebody could get a handle on all of the hand scans and then use that to drain your account. Super unlikely, though. That's why I don't like it right there. I can say why. Because you can't ever change your hand. Here's the thing. I lose my credit card all the fucking time. I lose my wallet pretty regularly. So I constantly have to get a new card. But it's fine. I cancel the old card and I get a new one. And no one can use the old card to steal from me. But if somebody ever gets their hand on my biometric hand scan and they find a way to fucking use that at a scanner, which they say is impossible, but if they find a way, then I'm fucked forever. I can never use the hand again. I'm not going to chop my fucking hand off. Bro, you got a left? I just shift my veins around again and do it again. It's impossible because everyone's veins are completely different. Yeah, what I'm saying is if they found a way to get your hand scanned from the cloud and then use that to trick the scanner, clone it on a phone or something and use that, then you'd be fucked forever. You'd be fucked. You would be fucked. You'd have no. You can't get another hand. You have to cancel it forever, and then. So it feels like it's like a best case scenario situation, but a worst case really annoying. They're on camera in stores. Bro, if you think having cameras in stores has stopped shoplifting or theft, you're insane. What did Otto say? User automated. Otto said it probably only works on normal sized hands. Don't worry, Atrioc. Really? Wall of I can'ts. Lamau, got him, can't breathe, VIP +2. Very, very obvious and basic hands joke. I'm dead. Auto 1, Atrioc 0. Actually owned. Give him your stream key. VIP him. Glizzy hands, I can't. Okay. Normal hands, though. Normal hands. Ladies and gentlemen, on that wonderful note from Otto, how about we take a break and watch House MD, huh?
Last time I checked, I'm still hot, real hot. Kept it dope without a pill pop. Bill Cos, steady climbing to the hilltop. Tip top, did it all off of a TikTok. Yeah, last time I checked, I still that guy that did it on my own. Stay independent. For you to get what I'm getting, it will probably take a village. Just give me a minute, turn a snippet to a hit, and now they all want a percentage, but I'm only paying visits. Big dog, hit 'em with thick thumbs and a quick draw. Pit boss, if they ain't playing, they getting kicked off. Jigsaw, I got 'em puzzled, got 'em a bit lost. It's a feeding frenzy, I put the beat in a pig trough. Got it on lock.
Shark Tank? No, I wouldn't check it tomorrow because, or another time, maybe even Monday. Shark Tank requires me, I think, to talk a lot more because I want to make a video about it. But House, I can never do that. So I can just sit back and enjoy it, which I want to do because I talked for a long time on the China thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get some snackies and drinkies. So we're going to watch season 3, episode 18, Airborne. A violent illness is spreading on a flight. It's fucking COVID, dude. It's the COVID episode. Holy shit. They predicted COVID in 2007. Airborne. Please go get your snacks and your drinks and enjoy a little bit of House MD. With me, PogChamp. No.
Last time I checked, I'm still hot, real hot. Kept it dope without a pill pop. Bill Cos, steady climbing to the hilltop. Tip top, did it all off of a TikTok. Yeah, last time I checked, I still that guy that did it on my own. Staying.
Wait, is ads running right now? Or should I? Yeah, let me just knock them out, dude. That's a great idea. Quick actions. Ads manager. Yeah. Okay, I'm running it. Oh, perfect. Yeah, it manually removes it. Oh, fucking yes. Okay. Yeah. Watch the ads and then we'll fucking... Yeah. Nice. Save me a little bit at least. Sheesh. Sheesh. Dr. Battle, not only did I say hi to you twice, but I talked about your show, The Battle Report. Maybe you're not paying attention. Perhaps a LaCroix. And more especially, a delicious chicken salad wrap Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. All right. One more minute of ads. And then House MD, PogChamp. Let's pull it open. I like that Palm payment thing. I like that thing where somebody sent me a news clip and then we talked about it. I need to figure out how to make that more of a thing because that's news I didn't even hear about. Jimmy Wong! Wait! Guys, we have a minute for the ads left. I'm going to tell you a Jimmy Wong story. It's a good time right now. So if you guys don't know, Jimmy Wong, one of the all-time goats of Magic. Everyone loves him in the Magic community. He does game nights and a bunch of things. I played Magic with him recently. And he told me during that game that he had been on Price is Right, the TV show with Bob Barker. Or Drew Carey, I guess. And I told him he was lying. Because he was doing the stupid little Jimmy Wong grin where he's like, oh yeah, no, I've been on Price is Right. And I was like, no, you haven't. And he's like, no, I have, for real. And then he kept giggling to himself like he was fucking lying. Wait, Jimmy, I forgot your fucking... There it is. And then I didn't believe him. So after he got home, he sent me this.